Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the next point of this topic is geometric design of track. The definition is the geometric design should be such as to provide maximum efficiency in the traffic operation with maximum safety at reasonable cost. That is meaning that it will be provide the maximum efficiency in the traffic of the railway with the maximum safety of the passenger in minimum cost. Then necessity of geometric design. First necessity is track defects, second vehicular defects, and third one operational defects. The next point is important as per the civil engineers is the civil engineers are mainly concerned with the track defects and how to remove these defects so that no derailment take place. It is an important play role in the geometric design of the track is if we have to find out the track defects and resolve or solve the defects in minimum time for that smooth conduction of the rail traffic. Next point, track defects. First track defects is improper gradients, second defective gauge, third one improper superrelation, fourth improper radius of curve, fifth improper design speed, next one unequal distribution of loads on two rails, next improper points and crossing. These are the defects occur in the track. Next important part is gradient. The gradient is the rate of rising or fall of the track. It is expressed as a ratio of vertical distance to horizontal distance as the percentage of rising or fall. Gradient it is nothing but rise or fall of the track. If any track rises in 1 in 100 meter horizontal length and its gradient is expressed as a 1 in 100. If another track falls by 1 in 50 meter length, its gradient is 1 in 15. The gradient design should be such as provide maximum efficiency in the traffic operation with maximum safety at reasonable cost. The same as the geometric design of the track. This is the rising and falling gradient. Here we see that is the rising gradient is 1 in 400, that is a 0.25%, and this is a falling gradient, that is a 1 on 100 400, that is a 0.25%. The height of the gradient is 1 meter maximum and the length is 400 meter and 400 meter. Next, what is the purpose of gradients? To reduce the cost of earthwork. Second, to provide uniform rate or fall as far as practicable. Third, to reach the station situated at different elevations to drain off rainwater. Next one, factors which affect the selection of gradient. First one is the nature of ground. Second one, safety required. Third one, drainage required. Fourth one, total height to be covered. And next one, hauling capacity of railway engines. Next point is the types of gradient. There are the totally four types of the gradient. Is first is the ruling gradient. Second one is the momentum gradient. Third one is the pusher gradient, and last one is the station yard gradient. We have to discuss one by one in detail. First, the ruling gradient. The ruling gradient it is the maximum gradient to which the track may be laid in particular section. It depends on load of the train and additional power of the locomotive. The ruling gradient is adopted in plain tracks in 1 in 150 to 1 in 200, and in hill tracks 1 in 100 to 1 in 150. This is the ruling gradient. Here we see that in image. This is a locomotive of the railway. Here we provide the additional two locomotive for the ruling gradient or rise of the gradient for the purpose of the railways smoothly conducted in high rise gradient or high rise track. Next one is the momentum gradient, second type of the gradient. The gradient which steeper than ruling gradient and where the advantages of momentum is utilized is known as momentum gradient. Next, the train gets momentum when moving in down gradient and this momentum can be utilized for up gradient. A train while coming down gradient gains sufficient momentum. This is the down and up position. Next point. This momentum gives additional kinetic energy to the moving train, which would help to train to rise a steeper gradient in the rolling gradient for a certain length of the track. This rising gradient is called a moment gradient. In such gradients, no signals are provided to stop the train. This is the image of the momentum gradient. Suppose in train are passing in stripping gradient. When you passing at the stripping gradient, there will be develop as a kinetic energy. It will be help to rise the rolling gradient in some distance without any locomotive load or without any engine load. This is calling as a momentum gradient. This type of the image we have to experience in the roads we know about. When we steeper than steep this downward side, that time some distance we have to cover without any rising the speed at the rolling gradient or up gradient. Next one is the pusher gradient. The pusher gradient is the gradient where an extra engine is required to push the train. These are the steeper gradient than rolling gradient and are provided at certain places of mountains to avoid heavy cutting or to reduce the length of the track. The pusher gradient in often 1 in 37 on Western Ghats with broad gauge track is provided. On Darjeeling Railway with narrow gauge track, a rolling gradient in 1 in 25 is provided. This is here we seen this in image. The pusher gradient. This is the locomotive of the railway. He needs the additional pushing gradient or additional pushing railway for the passing this rise of the track with the safety. This is the pusher gradient. Next point is the grade composition of curves. The grade composition curve is the reduction in gradient on curved position of track. On curves, extra pull is required to pull the train due to more tractive resistance. Therefore, if gradients are to be provided on curves, some compensation should be given in rolling gradients to increase the tractive resistance to a certain limit and to pull the trains with the same speed. It is expressed as a percentage per degree of curve. The grade compensation provided on broad gauge curves is 0.04% per degree. This is a grade compensation curve we provide. Next important point is the superelevation in rails. The superelevation, it is the raised elevation of the outer rail above the inner rail in horizontal curve. It is denoted by small e. When vehicle moves on curve, it is subjected to centrifugal force. The centrifugal force exerts a horizontal force on the outer rail and the weight on the outer rail increases. This horizontal force and uneven load on rails will cause the derailment. This centrifugal force can be countered by introducing the centripetal forces by rising outer rail with the respect of inner rail. That is meaning when railway take place in a turning position, that time the heaviest load coming in the outer rail compared to inner rail, and this outer rail is nothing but the outer rail load is nothing but the superelevation. This raising of the outer rail with respect to inner rail is known as superelevation or canting or cant. Formula for calculate the gradient is for the first broad gauge. It is nothing but the superelevation is equal to GV square divided by 1.27 R. The G is nothing but the broad gauge distance between product gauge. The 1.676 into v square divided by 1.27 r. It is in centimeter. For meter gauge, E is equal to gv square divided by 1.27 r. Therefore, is equal to 1.0 v square divided by 1.27 into r. And for narrow gauge, gv square by divided by 1.27 r is equal to 0.762 v square divided by 1.27 r in centimeter. All the values are in centimeter for calculating the gradient. Next, what is the objects providing for this superrelation? To introduce the centrifugal force to counteract the centrifugal force to avoid derailment and reduce the side wear of the rails. We know what is the superrelation. The superrelation, it is the when the railway is in the turning position, that the heaviest load coming at the outer rail compared to inner rail. This heaviest load is nothing but we know that superrelation or canting. Which we have to reduce is the centrifugal force to avoid derailment and reduce the side of wear or repairs. Next, to distribute the wheel loads equally on the track. Next, this reduces the top wear of rails and results in saving of maintenance cost. Next, to ensure the comfortable ride for passenger and safe movements of the goods. This is important point for the as per the passenger safety and goods safety. Next point is the cant deficiency. The cant deficiency is the difference between the equilibrium cant necessary for the maximum permissible speed on curve and the actual cant provided here. The cant deficiency should be low due to following reasons. First one is the higher discomfort to passenger due to higher cant deficiency. Second one, side wear and creep of outer rails of the track are more due to higher cant deficiency. Third one, the maximum values of the cant deficiency as prescribed on Indian Railways on broad gauge is for speeds up to 100 km per hour is equal to 76 mm cant is provided. Next, cant deficiency is provided for the speed up to higher than 100 km per hour is equal to 100 mm cant deficiency will be provided in on broad gauge section. Next point is negative superrelation. When a main line is on curve has turn on leading to branch line, the superrelation necessary for the average speed of trains over the main line cannot be provided. As the superrelation is provided on the main line, the outer rail of the main line is the higher level than the inner rail. But here is the outer rail of the branch line is the lower level in the inner rail, and the superrelation is known as the negative superrelation or negative cant. This is the image of this negative superrelation or negative cant. Here we see that the main track and this is the branch track. At the time of the branch track, here we see that this is the outer rail. It is the rise as compared to in for the inner rail. Outer rail is the rise compared to inner rail. But in the branch track or branch line, it is a totally opposite. The inner rail is rise as compared to outer rail for the maintain or prevent the speed of train as the turning position or in curve position. We cannot provide the permit to same speed at the branch track or branch line. This is the nothing but the negative superrelation or negative cant. What is the speed conduct in the main track or main line? It is cannot permit at the branch track. This is the meaning that the negative superrelation or negative cant. Here we see that in main track the outer rail is the higher than or rise than the inner rail, but this is the opposite in branch line. The outer rail is lower than the inner rail. That is the meaning as the negative superrelation or negative cant. Next, speed of the train. It depends on the speed of train. It depends on the various points. The first point is depends on strength of the track, Second one, power of the locomotive. Next, trains have to face the dynamic effects. The first one is the parasitic motion such as pitching, rolling, bouncing, and lateral oscillations of the vehicles. Second one, effect of unbalanced weight, and third one, effects of unspring masses. The suspension characters of the locomotive carriages is for broad gauge 96 km per hour, meter gauge 72 km per hour, and narrow gauge 40 km per hour. This is the speed of the train in Indian Railways. Today I declare about the first topic of the infrastructure engine, that is the railway engineering, is completed or is over. If any questions or if any doubt, please contact to my mobile or personal number. And all the students, I request to please subscribe to this video and like more and more. Thank you so much.